So I've been going through the comments on some of my paprika videos, and one of the comments I thought might be useful for me to answer by doing a little video. So the comment we had was a question from a juicy cupcake. Thank you for saying hello. And what she was asking about was whether there was a way to get in recipes that aren't on the web and that you might need to scan in some way. So that's inspired me to make this video. So today I'm going to use my iPad and show you 4 different ways of getting recipes into the app. And I hope that's helpful for you, a juicy cupcake, and I hope it's helpful for some of the rest of you out there too. And of course, I might not have covered every way of getting recipes into the app, so let me know in the comments if I've missed something, and we can all keep sharing and keep getting our recipe databases bigger and bigger so we can do some amazing food planning. Okay, so let's get Paprika open and I'll run through the 4 different ways. So let's open Paprika 3, and the first way of adding recipes is of course to add them manually. So I think probably everyone knows this, but if you want to add a recipe, you will go up to the top right of Paprika to that plus sign. So we'll click on the plus button, and then a recipe card opens up and you can just literally type in your recipe. And part of that question was also whether you could add photos. So let me just show you how you would add a photo if you're putting in your own recipe. So we've got the photo section here, the second section down. I'll click on that, and then in the top right of this photos card there is a plus, and then I can either take a photo from here or I can get one that I've already taken from my photo library. So here's a photo of some pancakes I was making this week, and it enters just like that and becomes the thumbnail for you. So if I save that only half done recipe now, and let's bring it up. Test recipe, you can see there it is, it's got its own thumbnail and it would just populate. So if all else fails, you can add your recipes manually, but it's a bit boring, isn't it? So let's look at some of the other ways that you can add your recipes. So you probably know method number 2 because it's absolutely magical, but let's show you in case you haven't discovered this yet, and you're going to love this if you haven't. So to download recipes from the web, which means you've got access to recipes from all over the world, all kinds of cultures, and you can download them and have them here in your own recipe app. You can make your own notes, you can adapt from them. It's just amazing. So let's show you how to do it just in case. So we go down the left hand side of Paprika, and the second button down here is the web button, and that takes us to a Paprika screen that lets us access either the Google recipe search, the search bar itself, which you can just paste into, or there's all kinds of specific sites that Paprika have already populated for you, and you can just use one of those and go from there. So let's say I'm going to put in one of my own recipes from my blog, and it is a sagaloo, and it's made with chard, which I've grown in the garden. So I've put that into the recipe box and we can search it there. And then thankfully Google has brought up my website as the first one. So I can go into this website from here. I'm just clicking on it as normal. And now I can see my own recipe here, and it's all written out at the bottom. So all you do in order to get a recipe from the majority of websites is to go to the bottom right now and to click the save button and then download. You can see it's downloading, and now I can check here to see if it's worked. So yes, it's got the title, it's brought in the photo, it's brought in the cook time, that kind of stuff, and it's brought in all of the ingredients and the directions, which means I actually populated it correctly in my blog, which is a relief. And that's it. If I now go across to my recipes and I search for sagaloo, hopefully, yes there it is, we've got 2 in there now. You can see that it is now in there, and I can edit that, I can add my own notes, add my own hashtags, whatever I want to do. So this is the magic of Paprika. Now I'm going to do a separate video on this, but there are times when you go to a website and Paprika just can't download the recipe in any format that's useful. This is often the case for recipes I'm trying to download from newspapers, where there might be ads in between, or they've laid it out in a funny way. Some days I think it's to prevent me downloading it and getting it into Paprika, but they can't because Paprika has a good way of doing that. So I'm going to do an individual video on that because it's a bit more fiddly to do, but there is a way to do it. Now, I often sit and download loads of recipes at once, and I've been doing that during lockdown. And that means now I've got masses of recipes that are uncategorized. So I'm going to do a different video and show you how I go about cleaning my database when I've left loads of things uncategorized, in case any of you are as bad as I am at this. But it's easy enough to do. When you download, just go into the category section and you can choose where it goes to from there. And if you don't know already, you can actually use multiple categories. So I try not to get too perfectionist about it. Mainly the question I ask when I'm categorising is, where am I likely to be looking for it? Because I can search for anything at any time. It's a great search engine within the app. But sometimes you might just want to browse something. So for me, with a recipe like this that I know uses homegrown food, I might categorise that in my homegrown veg, so that when I've got an excess of chard and I'm just looking through different recipes, I'm going to find it. So choose your categories and then come back out again. And again, don't forget to save. Top right button, save. So now it's got a category, and if I put in aloo there, you can see it's categorised itself under homegrown veg. So it's a brilliant feature of Paprika and super easy to use. So that's method number 2. So method number 3, you can import a recipe from Paprika that someone else has sent you directly into your own Paprika app database. So if you know someone else who's got Paprika app and they might send you some of their recipes, all they need to do is to share that recipe with you. And I find using share by email the easiest way, especially if you're using iOS. So let's share one here. So let's say I wanted to share creamy mustard, chicken and potatoes. So this is one of my absolute favourite super simple midweek instant pot dishes using chicken and potatoes. It's lovely, and there's a video and I will link it somewhere so that you can see that if you're interested. But to share a recipe, what we do is we open the recipe card and then we go to these 3 dots up here. And from there, you can email a recipe or share it in another way. But let's use email. So it'll go straight into my email and set it all up ready to go. And it's not just sending the text of the recipe, which is a really handy thing anyway, but it actually attaches the Paprika file at the bottom. So someone could send me a recipe in that way, and then all I have to do is import it into my own database. So let's go into my email and I'll show you one that I sent earlier and how to get that into your Paprika database. So here it is, arrived in my inbox. So if someone has sent you a recipe like that, you've got it in text, but more importantly, you've got the little file at the bottom. So just give it a click. And then you can go along on your share sheet and Paprika 3 should appear there. And you just click on that, check it's right, and then click save. And on this one, I'm getting a message, 1 recipe updated, because it's already in my database. But when you normally do it, just click on save and it'll be in your database. So that's fantastic. Now, if you've not done this before, it's possible that Paprika might not be there when you're looking for it. So when you click on the file, if Paprika isn't sitting there for you to click on and to get it added to your database, just go all the way along to the right, click on more. And from there, you can add in Paprika and then it will appear there every time you do it. So that's a brilliant way to be swapping your own recipes, family recipes that have been passed down. You can share the love around and we can all kind of learn to cook from each other. So finally, let's get on to method number 4 and the question that I was asked about, which was how do you get these recipes into your database from recipe books or from scraps of paper that you've gathered across the years. So I've got a little hack for that for you. So to do that, we're going to use a scanner to get the recipe into Paprika. So I'm going to use Scanner Pro, which is a brilliant scanning app in my opinion. And I think it's also free at the moment, but at some point it's going to go to subscription. But for any scanning app that you use that has something called OCR as part of its functions will work. So OCR just means optical character recognition, and that's where instead of it just taking a kind of photo of the text, it can actually distinguish the letters and words and pull them out, so it's more like a document that you can cut and paste from. So let's show you how it works. I'm going to open Scanner Pro and take a photo. And when you're doing a scan like this, try and be next to a window in some good daylight. And if you're doing it from a book or something, make sure it's laying as flat as possible so you get a really good scan of the text. And now I'm going to click the little button here that looks like a page. So the top left and the 4th button along. And I'm now going to go along to the top middle bar where it says text. And now this is converted into text, so I can now just copy and paste the whole lot. Go back into Paprika, start a new recipe. And how I usually do this is I put everything under directions at the start. Just paste it in as you would anything else. And then I'll take the name, paste it into the name. Take the serves 4 to 6, which will go into info, servings. I'll just correct that little text. There that goes. And then I'll just copy and paste the ingredients, cut that and get that into the ingredients section, clean it up a bit. Get rid of that method. And then you can see the OCR's just made a couple of little mistakes there, so I'll just clean it up. Get the lines back aligned. Done. A little handy hint for you, when I'm putting a recipe in like this and I haven't got a photo yet, I want to remind myself next time I'm making it to get a photo. So in the notes section, I just put in a hashtag that says needs photo. And then I do a search for that, or I just spot it next time I'm opening up the recipe. I've probably got a photo in my photo thing, but I don't want to keep you here while I go through thousands of food photos. So that's that done. You can add anything else you want, and there it is, just like any other recipe. And Paprika has even picked up some of the timings that work with the timer. So it's translated that 15 minutes so that I can use a timer there. The half hour is there as a 30-minute timer. The 5 minute is there. So it's absolutely brilliant. Everything's in there, and I haven't had to type out the whole thing, which is just way too time consuming. So that's how you can get your analog recipes into Paprika, and hopefully you're backing up your Paprika app now and again so that you know that you will never lose these precious recipes. So I hope this video has been helpful for you and helps you carry on that journey with Paprika app. Give me a thumbs up if it is helpful, and if you'd like more Paprika app videos, do let me know in the comments anything you're struggling with. I do go through them, and I will make videos based on what you're asking for if I know how to do it. So in the meantime, have a good week, and I'll see you next time.